Today on Coffee Roasting Legends, San Franciscan roasters Bill Kennedy speaks with 2024 U.S. roasting champion Eduardo Chosa.
Welcome to Coffee Roasting Legends, the podcast where we dive deep into the craft, passion, and the stories behind the world's most respected coffee roasters. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Eduardo Chosa. He is the 2024 roasting champion, U.S. roasting champion. Eduardo's journey through coffee has been marked by precision, perseverance, and a genuine dedication to the craft. From mastering machines like our SF25 and our SF75 to standing out on the national stage, he's earned a place among the best in the industry. Eduardo's impact doesn't stop at the podium, though. He's taken his success and he's turned it into a platform, and mentoring up and coming roasters, sharing his knowledge openly, and helping others find their own path to excellence. In this episode, we'll explore what sparked his love for roasting, the road to his championship win, and how he's using his experience to shape the future of specialty coffee. So let's get into it. Welcome, Eduardo. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep calling you Edward, but it will eventually soak in to call you Eduardo. Please forgive me.
No, it's all good, Bill. Thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor to be, here with you and talking about coffee roasting, man.
Well, that's awesome. Welcome, and let's just jump into it. Take us back, okay? What first drew you into the world of coffee roasting, and was there a specific moment or experience that made you realize that this was your path?
Well, I think the way I found myself into coffee roasting was actually I was trying to fill a need. At the time that I got started in coffee roasting, I was working for Mayorga Coffee, and somebody was departing from the person that was responsible for roasting lab samples and mostly doing lab work, was leaving. So there was a need to fill. At that time, I was doing a lot of the retail operations management,
Hmm.
and I was very interested in seeing how we could, how does green coffee turn brown and how that affects taste and all that.
Right.
So I got into it because there was a need to fill, and because I wanted to be able to fill that need. I wanted to expand my knowledge of coffee beyond just the hospitality side of things. Um, I definitely enjoy that experience as well. Serving people coffee, but there was something very special about learning the roasting process. So I learned on a SF1. That is the roaster that I got my journey started on, and I roasted so many batches on that small roaster. I learned to use it in and out, and that's really where my love for roasting coffee began. I still remember the first coffee that I roasted on my own. It was special to me because it was a coffee from Mexico, and that's where my family is from.
Mm.
So it was from Chiapas. And I would say that I did a pretty good job of roasting it. I don't know if I was able to touch that coffee again, um, freeze a moment in time and go back. I wonder what that coffee would actually taste like.
Right.
At the moment, I really enjoyed it because it was very special.
It's interesting. We all have our memorable experiences, right? But isn't it interesting how the memory includes the palate, right? And
Yeah,
the whole sensory experience, um, it's not just an image or anything like that. It's the whole sensory experience that just kind of pops into your mind as you relive those moments. And we all have two or three of them, right? That we can point back and we can describe that moment in depth, right?
absolutely.
And and then too, right? It's like your first roast and then your next roast, or your roast that you do that how you would do it now and what the difference would be, is it is fun to imagine. Uh,
Absolutely. I definitely had a great time, learning that. It would I think if I could go back in time and just watch myself, from a third person view,
mhm,
it would be really special to be able to witness that, right?
right? And yes, it would be. Well, and sometimes we have opportunities to relive those experiences. You know, they won't be perfect because, every crop is a little bit different, and you go back 15 years or whatever, and, it's like, well, 15 years for me anyway. To one of my first memories was an Ethiopian, Misty Valley, and it was a blueberry bomb that,
Mm.
um in fact, I had a client ask if I put blueberry flavoring in it.
Oh, wow.
That's how powerful it was. There was nothing subtle about this, natural that came out. And, I've never had that from that region ever since that time, so long ago. But anyway, moving on. So, I tell you what, talk about your experience from the SF1, moving on up to other models, other brands. Give us a repertoire of what your roasting experience is on the types of equipment that you've roasted on.
Absolutely, yeah. So I had the opportunity to start my roasting journey with the SF1, and shortly after that, jumped into the SF25. And the SF25 is what I really became my baby. That's where I got all my production batches in,
Right.
um, and various coffees from different roast types to different origins to different processes.
Hmm.
It was a really beautiful and fun experience to learn it and to have it be a very manual process for me. I'm a very hands-on person, so the way that I approached with roasting with the San Franciscan roasters was really like manual, obviously, just taking notes, um, you know, tasting my results of what
Right.
I was roasting, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like that is I really enjoyed my experience of learning coffees in and out with the San Fran roasters. Also, I had the opportunity to work on other roasters as well. Probats and Diedrichs, and even these electric roasters that are out now, Stronghold. Um, yeah, it's I've had a wide range of roasters that I've used, um, and I'm gonna go out there and say it. My favorite has always been San Francisco, and I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you, Bill. Like I really mean it. The San Franciscan has always been a very special machine to me, and that's typically the one I recommend for people that are looking for something that is durable, that roasts great coffee. I mean, it takes skill to roast manually, and it's beautiful when people make that choice.
Well, I think so too. There, well, I will say that there are places for all of those brands. Like you and I were discussing before the show, there's a place for the artisanal roaster that really wants to put their whole human heart and soul into the craft. And that's kind of where we're at. I believe that's where your heart is too.
Hmm.
In
Yeah,
terms of, because, well, I know it's me saying this, but I don't believe that any other roaster can get to the point that our roasters' capabilities are able to get to. They can get close, and you can make a living and all that, but um, we serve a niche kind of within a niche of artisanal roasters for the ability to diffuse heat in so many different ways,
absolutely.
and we're just not limited to one. It seems like convective is the mode of the day, the flavor of the day for that, and it's just, well, we could talk more about that a little bit later.
Absolutely no, but in full agreement with you. I definitely I've had my experience with many different roasters, and for me, I keep going back to San Franciscan. And when the day comes that I'm able to have my own, you best believe I'm giving you a call, Bill.
I'll be here. So now, okay, you've had a journey. Touched on, your experiences, and tell me, like, how long have you been in coffee, and then what was it that made you decide, you know what, I want to compete and throw my hat in the ring to work toward competition and the roaster championships regionally and then nationally and then internationally. But you kind of tell us about that journey too.
Yeah, so my coffee journey started about 10 or 11 years ago, about
Mm.
2014, 2015. And it began because I was working at a specialty foods grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really drink coffee, not nearly or as close as much as I drink now, but there was free coffee there, and the coffee that I drank and changed my life was a Chef natural process coffee from Koke. Um, that is what got me to come down the rabbit hole and chase this world of coffee, right? I used to say that it was an accident that I found coffee, but I don't believe that anymore. It's definitely very purposeful, and it was very meant to be.
Uh-huh.
Um, but my journey started more on the retail side of things. I had always managed and led teams, and so I started more on the management side of things. So I kind of like worked my way backwards, um, kind of like teaching myself from the ground up using YouTube and just whatever resources that I could get my hands on. Um, the roasting journey happened, and one of the reasons why I decided to compete was I wanted to learn more, right? I think there was only so much learning that I could do just within the four walls that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
That I wanted to know what other people were doing and what their styles were, and
Sure.
also just network, meet other people, and see where I kind of was with the competition. When it came to roasting, I learned a lot by doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
By being really experimental. And then I started to read books and kind of like not reinforce my knowledge, but saw that the things I was doing were correct. I just ended up finding them in the process of roasting.
Right.
And so in the actual time that I started looking at competitions, actually, and I don't know if you'll remember this, but it was when I met you in person. I met you in person at the expo in 2018 in Seattle, and at that expo, there was competitions happening, and I remember you telling me, "Hey, do you want to meet the U.S. champion?" And at that time, it
Yeah.
was Mark Michelson,
Right.
um, who had just come off of winning the previous year, and I thought that was really cool. He was real down to earth person, and I thought it was really awesome um, to see that and to see what the competitions look like. And I said, you know what, maybe I could do this too. So I started my competition journey in 2019, and that season, I believe it was in January. And I just threw my hat in the ring. I just wanted to see what it was like,
Right.
and the results ended up being well. I ended up placing fairly high in the qualifiers. I believe I got, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I got fourth that qualifiers in Nashville,
Okay.
and that was my first time competing. So I was really proud, and I think that also I was very surprised in a sense to have that skill set, I guess, to
Mhm.
roast coffee really well. But it was very intentional. Like my whole learning process was very intentional, and I think that's why I was able to achieve that. Also, during that time, the competitions were a little bit different. You would roast the coffee for the first round. You would roast the coffee in your facility and
Hmm.
then take it in. And so the relationship that I had built with the SF25 was very intimate, and I knew how to bring the best out of any coffee that you gave me. So, any coffee that I had my hands on, I knew that I had um a good base to bring out the best in it. And so that competition was a coffee from Myanmar, which I had never roasted before because when I was working for Mayorga, all the coffee that was roasted there was from Latin America. So it
Hmm.
was a different experience, but I got to learn that coffee.
Okay, yeah.
Um, and that's kind of how I got my whole competition journey started. And I continue to pursue it because for me, I made it a point to keep competing because the what I saw there, I was maybe one of two or three people of color that were competing, and I think that at that time I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more diversity, and I wanted to see just competitors from everywhere competing. Um, pandemic hit, and so
Yeah.
that kind of put a damper on things. But got back into the swing of things and, had a pretty good run, I would say.
No, I would say so too. And were there like on your championship pursuit, you know, I will say this, it's for the humble person, you're always surprised that you do as well as you do, right? And I appreciate that about you. And I think that goes a long way, but along with being humble, I think comes a sense of confidence too. You know who you are, and you're not trying
Yeah.
to defend yourself from anybody or anything because you know who you are. No one's going to knock you off your ledge, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think that too, that confidence gives you the ability to be more purposeful, like you did. Throw your hat in the ring. You decide, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
That is always going to be the first step. And how many people are afraid to do the first step? And what would you say to that person right now?
I mean, the first step is always the hardest, but I think that, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So
That's
it's important to just try, right? The worst that can happen is that, you get last place, but you know what?
Mhm.
You learn so much. There's so much learning that can happen in the process. And you know, failure is part of life, and it's all about how you bounce back, how you receive that failure and what you do with it next, right? In my first finals, that it was in Kansas City, I got second to last, and had that stopped me in my tracks, and we probably wouldn't be here having a conversation. But um, I'm a type of person that I know that I could always improve and I could always do better. So what I would say to the person that wants to get started off is just do it, man. Just do it. You don't know what can happen until you actually, you know, take a stab at it. So,
One of our sayings that I really like is to embrace the craft. And if you're going to embrace, you're making yourself vulnerable to a certain extent, and y- being willing to make those mistakes along the way, I think is so important. And again, you can make mistakes and then quit, and then kind of be, you just kind of go back to where you were before, and uh, doing something that you're just seeking comfort levels that you can handle. And it's always good to push yourself, a little bit out of your comfort zone, uh,
absolutely,
to
but
keep moving forward, to keep growing.
absolutely, I think you know, c- with comfort, there's very little growth, and it's important for people to do some things that make them uncomfortable because the level of growth that comes from it is immense.
Yeah. So you won the championship, and that's this huge milestone. Congratulations, by the way. It
Thank you, bro.
must
I
be an
appreciate it.
awesome feeling to be like, I'm the champion of the United States this year. Da, 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 da.
It was definitely a very special moment in 2024 in Chicago. Um, fast forwarding from 2019 to 2024, there was a lot that happened in between to get to that point. Um, I think before to the competitions prior to that one, I would just show up. I would just, there was no time for training before that. So my training was just doing regular production batches, and because you got a job to do at the end of the day. But for that 2024 season, I was very intentional with using my time to actually practice and to get in time on the roaster that was the sponsor that year, and really just tasting everything that would come out, kind of like going back to my day one, learning on the SF1. And because it was a whole other system, it was a whole new system. It was an electric roaster and hot air, and um, I mean, when you know how to roast, and then you could use all those things, but it also takes time to know, how the machine reacts and what can I do.
Right.
And so I was very intentional about my time practicing. And I can't say it enough, but I thank the folks at Big Shoulders in Chicago for opening up their doors and letting me practice on their machine that they had there,
Mhm.
like a few days before the competition, because getting in those reps was very important. Not so much for the results, but
Right.
more for the workflow.
Yeah.
Um, but it was very special to win that championship. I I take it two ways. I Everybody there was a great competitor. Everybody there were phenomenal roasters. And every competition year, there's always great roasters.
Hmm.
Um, the way I was surprised that I won, but I also I saw it. I had envisioned it. Like I had put that thought in my head. I had printed that image of me winning and being,
Hmm.
on the podium, but still when it actually happened, it was still very surreal. Um, and very emotional as well because there was a lot of people that supported me throughout the process,
Yeah.
and that's who I thought about, mostly is the people that helped me, get to that point. And it was a very special moment in my roasting, journey and roasting career.
And so now, winning the championship obviously was a huge milestone for you. Um, and I think it allowed you to pivot, I suppose. At that point, it gave you a fulcrum to pivot from. And so, tell us, what have you been doing since that point? What has your journey looked like for this last year, for example?
Yeah, so since that point, while I was in Chicago, I started a relationship with one of the roasters there, or with all the roasters over there, both Ryan and Diego.
Hmm.
And I really got connected really closely with Diego Guartan, who is now the 2025 U.S. roasting champion.
Yes.
Um, so I got really close with him and encouraged him to compete as well.
Hmm.
And I think after he saw me win the championship, that's when he was willing to say, okay, you know what? I'll also do the same. I'll throw my hat in the ring. So yeah, this past, year, 2025, I started, working with Diego and training him through the US roasting championship, training him for the world championship. Um, and it was very special for him to compete, one time and or his first time and win that
Right.
championship. He was really intentional with all the work that he did, and for me that felt great. That felt absolutely. um I also feel like I won the championship in 2025 because we worked together and to achieve that, and went on to Worlds in Houston. He placed 12th, and that's a lot better than I did as well. So a lot of improvements, but it was a very special journey to be there, a part of Diego, and to see it from the coach's perspective. Uh, it was very meaningful as well. I was also very emotional through his championship run, and I think it was very special. So for me, I would like to continue coaching other U.S. Competitors and champions. There's a few people that want me to be their coach, so I don't know how that's going to work, but or maybe we'll have a roast off beforehand.
Yeah.
um, but so yeah, that's what I've been up to. I'm really about building community. So doing that through coffee roasting, through workshops, through trainings for folks. So right now I do consulting. So for my company is called Campeon Coffee Consultants, which means champion in Spanish. So champion
Yes.
coffee,
Yeah.
yeah. And I have a podcast as well. It's called Foods and Coffee, where we talk to uh, people from underrepresented communities that are in coffee that have great stories and great careers and have a
Awesome.
lot of
Yes.
wisdom to tell. So and yeah, just helping out a lot of friends in the area. Also working with my friends from A Toda Madre Roasters, which is located here in the DC area, and roasting some beautiful coffees, doing some sourcing, and there's no way that I can't be roasting. So I appreciate them for letting me roast with them and opening the doors, and really, taking a startup and having that glow up phase happen.
I want to take us to the beginning of our conversation. And you said, I saw a need. And what has happened in your life since you saw that need and then you acted on it, right?
Yeah,
How
it.
would you just kind of sum that up? That whole the emotion, the what drew you to do that? Um, and then reflecting back is like, are you content?
Oh, I'm more than content. I feel very fulfilled. Um, it's been a beautiful journey, and I hope that I could continue on this path of teaching others and coaching others, and continue to build the community of the coffee community here in the local area and beyond as well. I'm really happy that in the near future I'm going to be working with a couple of producers from Latin America, and also a uh, a project as well that's going to involve some roasting. So I'm very happy with my choice to start roasting and to fill that need that was needed. Um, I can't imagine a world where I never learned to roast, right? I can't imagine a world that hasn't taken me down this path. So what I do know is that I'm going to continue to move with a lot of purpose, with um, a lot of intention, and just continue to build community, through kindness, through respect, and through understanding.
Yeah, people who are listening and the your story is motivational to them. If they want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you, Eduardo?
If anybody wants to reach out to me, you could find me on Instagram if you do social media. So my Instagram is Pacamara, like the varietal,
Okay.
dot papi. So Pacamara dot papi. So it's pretty much Pacamara daddy, but
Yeah.
Pacamara is one of my favorite varietals.
Right.
It's a difficult varietal to roast. It takes a lot of skill, and it's also a big varietal, kind of like me, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty solid. So that's a way to find me. Otherwise, I mean, you could get in contact through email,
Yeah.
Eduardo eduardo.choza, CHOZA, at gmail.com.
Mhm.
Um, or just Google me. You could find me. You could find me through there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed visiting with you, hearing your story, Eduardo. I do. I wish you the very best of success moving forward. And knowing you like I do, I give everyone who's listening my full endorsement. Uh, you bring a wonderful and a humble skill set. Um, th- Finding humility in coffee sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do. And but I also find that the people who are the best coaches um, are humble. And
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it.
you
Thank you very much.
you own that one, Eduardo. So
Thank you. I appreciate it, Bill. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Um, and I can't wait to see what's next. I can't wait to be able to get into that San Franciscan facility one day and see everything that you guys do over there.
oh yeah, well, you'd be more than welcome. We'd love to have you out here. So anyway, all right, Eduardo. Well, you have a great day. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Bill. Cheers.
Okay, cheers. All right, goodbye.